Okay, so in this video we are going to talk about the physical and the chemical properties of matter. So the first question here, they're saying provide the definitions for the following. And then on A we have physical properties of matter. So what are physical properties of matter? Okay, so we are going to say these are characteristics. Okay, these are characteristics that can be measured. Okay, that can be measured without changing the composition of the substance. Okay, so without changing the composition of the substance. Okay, right, so this here is what we refer to as physical properties of matter. Okay, so for example, we can give a density. Okay, so we can measure density of a substance without changing its composition. Okay, another example is the melting point. We can measure the melting point, for example, of water without changing its composition. Okay, we can also measure or take note of the color of a certain substance without changing its properties. Okay, so these physical properties of matter here, okay, you can measure those properties without, okay, changing the composition of that element. Okay, so for example, you get your water. Okay, from this water you measure the mass of that water, you also measure the volume, and then you can be able to come up with the what, the density. Okay, so measuring those characteristics on that physical property, okay, which we are referring to in this case as water, it won't change its density. Okay, so physical properties of matter are characteristics can um, that can be measured without, okay, the changing of the composition of the substance. Okay, so now let's look at the chemical properties. Okay, so for the chemical properties you can say, okay, so the chemical properties you can say these are properties that describes, okay, these are properties that describes how a substance, okay, how a substance interacts, okay, how a substance interacts with other substance or other substances, okay, or other substances, leading to a change in composition. Okay, so leading to a change in composition. Okay, leading to a change in composition. Okay, so these are what we call as the chemical properties of what, matter. Okay, so this describes how a substance interacts with other substance or with other substances, leading to a change in their composition. So for example, if you get the reaction of a metal with an acid, okay, so if you have a metal and then you react it with an acid, okay, there's going to be a change that will occur on this metal here. Okay, or maybe when you are burning something is another example. Okay, when you get maybe a paper, okay, you burn that paper, it's going to turn into what, ashes. Okay, so the interaction of the paper with the fire, okay, is going to form what, ashes, and these ashes here will have totally different composition from the what, from the paper. So in a chemical change, or when we're describing these chemical properties of matter, okay, we are expecting a change after these substances react with what, another substance. Okay, so that's the difference between the chemical properties and the what, the physical properties. So we can now summarize it that in this physical property there is no change. Okay, there is no change, and then in the chemical properties we expect a change. Okay, All right, so now let's look at question number 8 here. They're saying answer the following as either true or false. Okay, so we've learned what a chemical change is. We've learned what chemical properties of matter are. Okay, so in physical properties we have no change. In chemical properties we have what? A change. So now let's answer these true or false questions. So the first one here, they're saying when a change occurs, okay, when a change occurs but the matter keeps the same composition, it is called a chemical change. Okay, so here we are going to say this is false, because if the matter keeps the same composition, we said it's a what? It's a physical property there, so it means it has to be a physical change. Okay, it has to be a physical change. But in this question we're being told that if the matter keeps its composition, then it's called a chemical change. No, this is false. Okay, and then let's look at B here. So when we look at B, they're saying wood being sawn into smaller pieces of wood is a chemical change. Okay, we are going to say this here is true. Why? Because when you get wood, okay, you get that wood and then you combine it with your sword. Okay, you cut it into smaller pieces. Okay, that is a chemical change, because smaller pieces and then put them back together again to form that wood. Okay, so that there is a perfect example of a chemical change. All right, what about C? C, they're saying when a chemical change occurs, the matter keeps the same composition. Okay, so we see that this one will just be what? False. Because when you have a chemical change occurring, okay, it means the matter has to change its chemical properties or its composition. Okay, so this here is false. And then the last one, we are saying during chemical changes, atoms, okay, are rearranged and different kinds of matter forms. Okay, so this is true here. So when we are dealing with chemical changes, we know that they will form new chemical properties. Okay, so those new chemical properties or that new composition that is formed, okay, it's from the fact that the atoms inside there, they will be rearranged in a certain what? Order. Right, so that's it for this video. Please subscribe, like and share this video, and then don't forget that we are offering pre-made